Welcome to ThriveGroups. We're so glad to have you here with us today as we continue our series called Take a Hike. And this week we're talking about walking on the water. Peter and the walk that he took, the hike that he took on the water. Throughout the series, we're taking a look at what it means to walk with Jesus. And Peter did that, and he did it on the water. But before we get into all that, we're going to go over our ground rules. First, we want to encourage everyone to participate and no one to dominate. So share your thoughts, share your ideas, but make sure you don't dominate the conversation. You leave room for other people to talk as well. Also, we start on time and we end on time. So we want to make sure that we are respectful of the location that we're in and end on time. So with that, we're going to jump right in with our opening question. Share about a time when you were in a storm. For me, I was camping with a youth group many years ago, and as we were camping at Housatonic Meadows here in the state of Connecticut, we got hit with a hurricane. And this hurricane came through with vengeance. It flooded out our tents. It collapsed some of our shelters, and we had to evacuate and get out of there. It was exciting for sure, but definitely in the middle of a storm. But what about you? Share about a time when you got caught in the middle of a storm. Okay, I'm going to read some verses from Matthew here, and we're going to talk about what stands out to us. This is just the account of Peter walking on the water. Starts in Matthew 14, verse 22. Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake, while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up to the hills by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!" But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." Then Peter called out to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" So let's take a few moments and discuss what stood out to you in these verses. Next question is this. Share about a time you stepped into something new or scary. For me, several years ago, I decided I was going to start a band, and it was going to be a band that was going to go and play in environments where people were far from God. So we were playing in places, in clubs and bars where there was people far from God. And honestly, when I did it, there was a lot of people who didn't like the idea. They thought that I shouldn't be in those places. They thought that we were compromising for some reason. The reality of it is we were out there in the darkness trying to bring the light of Jesus. We stepped out into it, but it was kind of scary at the time. What about you? Share about a time when you stepped into something new or scary, maybe a relationship, a job, school, whatever it may be. Next question is this. Tell about a time you were tempted to focus on the wind and the waves rather than on Jesus. I found a video camera on eBay once, and I decided that it was going to be a great camera to have and to do some video production that I was looking into, and so I purchased it. Well, to make a long story short, it ended up being a scam. I ended up getting several $1,000s stolen from me. And it was a very difficult time for me. I was like, "God, why did you let this happen to me?" I was very focused on the finances of this and what was going to happen. And I was very anxious and looking at the circumstances of life rather than putting my eyes on Jesus. Have you ever done something like that? Go through a difficulty and it gets your eyes off of Jesus and onto the circumstances? Final question is, what storm are you currently walking through? Maybe it's a relational thing. Maybe it's in school or at work or in your community with your family, something like that. What storm are you currently going through in your life? Well, thank you so much for joining us this week at our Thrive group. We believe in the power of prayer. So if there's anything you would like the group to pray for, Feel free to share that at this point, and then we're going to pray together for each other. And I would encourage everyone to pray. You don't have to say anything fancy. Just a short and sweet prayer is fine. God hears it and knows our heart. And once you're done, you can say amen. The next person will go, and then the leader will close it up. So thank you again for joining us. Let's close in prayer.